Swiftsure feature by CKVU's Richard Saxton.
The Swiftsure Classic Yacht Race has been held annually since 1930 under a variety of weather conditions, and many sailors consider it to be the toughest mile-for-mile race in North American sailing. 2 years ago, 62 of 222 boats that competed did not finish the race, and there were 45-knot winds and 20-foot seas. And one of the greatest tragedies in the Swiftsure history occurred. A 20 or 30-foot Columbia boat, Native Dancer, lost its skipper and a crew member, broke her rudder, and that was a very tragic accident as far as Swiftsure history is concerned. Alan Holt of Seattle won that 1976 Swiftsure in a 30-foot boat, he being out of Seattle. The 1977 race was a totally different race. Wind conditions were different, and they had a lack of wind in certain areas, and carefully planned strategy had a lot to do with who did well, who won it, and what areas to sail in was really the key to that race. Swiftsure is a race that includes boats from all sizes, 20-footers or 30-footers to 100-footers and larger than that. The 136-mile course starts just outside Victoria's Inner Harbor, goes past the dangerous race rocks out to Swiftsure Bank, where the boats round a mark and head back. It's an overnight journey, and many of the boats find it treacherous depending on the weather conditions. And this year's Swiftsure, no one can tell, but as we'll talk to the 1977 winning skipper, Vladimir Plavsic, who won it in a boat called the Canada, 41-foot sloop, which he designed himself, and as he'll tell us, luck has a lot to do with Swiftsure.
Well, really, we were overall winner. Overall winner is really not much different than having a luck. Swiftsure is probably one of the biggest races in the world where you have to have a luck, because there's no predetermined tide system which goes. There is certain basic things, but they change every time, every year, winds and everything. And we were just lucky to get good breaks to be first boat around the mark, which was very good for the size of our boats. When you consider year before the Keola, which is 73 feet, etc. Very large boats usually round and come in first. And we just sailed very well and had luck. To us, it was more important winning our division. Like winning division, this is really winning, because overall it shouldn't exist. In a lot of races, they don't have this because there is no measuring stick really. But because of historic things, they say overall performer, number one. But winning your division, that is where it counts, because that means that the boats of same size racing same wind conditions because they are together. And that's when you win. That means really you won that race. And we feel very proud because we had 7 Swiftsures and won 4. And that's very good average of having luck and sailing well and having a fast boat. You have to have pretty well everything. The Swiftsure, no skipper could be confident to win Swiftsure because I think the luck pays very large percentage. So you cannot count to win Swiftsure. You can have hope to sail well, to have fast boat, and then that very important factor of luck is, like, we are one of the smallest boats this year. There's no way that we're going to round first this year. We'll be rounding probably in the middle of the fleet. Actually, theoretically, we should be rounding one of the last. We could still win on corrected time because each boat has a handicap. So the big boats have to give us maybe 3 hours. So if we race properly, and when coming back to Victoria, if there is any lull in the wind conditions and the big boys are waiting for us, then we'll win. But it could be the other way around. They might finish the race, the winds might drop down, and we might be anchored for the whole night, in which case we are clean.
The 1978 Swiftsure should have about 400 entries for the long Swiftsure race, the overnight adventure, and also the shorter Wanda Fuca race, which is about half the distance. And the Spearhead, skippered by Vladimir Plavsic, should be one of the top contenders in Swiftsure 78.